Okay, we're only a couple people short of our registration list, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening to everyone, and thanks for coming out. My name is Matt Huff, landscape architect and planner on the Natchez Place site. Before we dive in, I want to be clear about the focus tonight. This meeting is really about one specific place, this block, this site, how it functions today within the surrounding neighborhood. While there's a broader housing context behind the conversation, everything we'll talk about tonight is grounded in Natchez Place itself and its immediate surroundings. Our goal is to walk through what exists today, why reinvestment is being considered, and what an early concept for the site could look like before opening the floor to you all for your questions and feedback at the end. I'll start with a quick overview of who's involved and why we're having this conversation now. The Franklin Housing Authority has owned and managed this property for decades. Working alongside FHA are Elmington, Kimley Horn, and 906 Studio Architects, each bringing expertise in development, engineer, planning, and design. While our roles differ, the shared focus is long-term stewardship of this site. Tonight's purpose is not to present final answers, it's to explain why FHA is evaluating reinvestment at Natchez Place, share an early look at what that might include, and hear directly from you before the project moves further into the city review process. To begin with some broader context on why the FHA is looking closely at long-standing properties like this one, I'll turn it over to Derwin Jackson with the Franklin Housing Authority. Derwin? Oh, Derwin, I think you're muted. Let me unmute you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Derwin Jackson, and I'm the President and CEO of the Franklin Housing Authority. And again, we began this redevelopment process of all of our public housing properties really back in 2008 when I first came to Franklin, and we came up with a master plan on how we wanted to redevelop all our properties and make our properties more safer, make them continue to blend in with the city and what was happening around us, and really to try to continue to serve the residents that we serve, the low income residents, as well as trying to reach those of maybe some that are in the middle of this spectrum. So we began the process, and basically we have redeveloped all of our properties up until these are the last two properties, and that's is one of those last two properties that we're looking at to develop. We start out with public housing about 297 units. As we end this development process, we hope to be around 550 affordable units that the housing authority owns on about 60 acres of land in this radius of where we are. So this is part of this last final phase of ours that we're planning on to continue to try to meet the affordable housing need that we know that's going to be that exists now. It's going to grow even more, and so we know we're just a small part of trying to meet that need. And so this is what this plan is aimed to do. So I'm gonna let the other team go over some of the conceptual drawings and plans that we have in store for this project. I turn it back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Derwin. When the FHA evaluates properties like Natchez Place, they do so within the larger context of housing needs across Franklin. The Bowen Housing Study, completed in 2025, highlights a continued gap between housing costs and what many residents earn. Franklin is growing, but many people who work here, like teachers, service workers, healthcare professionals, are increasingly unable to find housing they can afford within the city that they serve. Today, more than 10,000 households are cost burdened, and attainable housing options are fully occupied with long wait lists. For the FHA, these conditions reinforce the importance of reinvesting in existing properties that they already own, rather than allowing older communities to decline or lose their ability to serve residents. Natchez Place is not being evaluated in isolation. It's part of the FHA's Long Range Master Housing Action Plan, originally adopted in 2010 and updated in 2019. Earlier this year, the FHA board approved updates for multiple sites, including Brookwood and a short court site along Natchez Street. Those updates emphasize reinvestments in, again, in aging properties, long-term management strategies, and alignment with guiding city plans. This slide brings us back to Natchez Place itself and its immediate surroundings. The site sits within a mix of residential blocks, civic uses such as police, or the police department, and nearby commercial properties, including the former H.G. Hills site. Streets like Plaza Street, Acton Street, and 9th Avenue South contribute to how this site is accessed and experienced. Because this area is more compact and urban in character, reinvestment here requires careful attention to circulation, street presence, and how buildings engage their surroundings. Context plays a major role in shaping what works, what doesn't on this site. From a regulatory standpoint, Natchez Place is zoned planned development and designated mixed residential under Envision Franklin. In practical terms, this means the city evaluates more than just use. Building placement, height, circulation, landscaping, and compatibility are reviewed together as part of the holistic process. The site's also located within the Central Franklin overlay, which adds another layer of design review focused on form, materials, and how buildings meet with the street. This is a thorough public process with multiple opportunities for review and input. Natchez Place today is a 34-unit residential community built in the 1960s. It has served residents for decades, but many of the buildings and systems are nearing the end of their practical lifespan. The layout reflects design standards for a different time. Amenities are limited, circulation is inefficient, and infrastructure upgrades have become increasingly challenging. There are also mature trees across the property, which are being evaluated carefully to understand what can be preserved and how new landscaping can strengthen the site if reinvestment moves forward. I want to spend some extra time on the master plan slide, which you see here, because it really gets to the heart of the conversation and helps explain the thinking behind the layout. Rather than addressing individual buildings one at a time, the master plan looks at Natchez Place as a system. How people arrive on the site, where vehicles are accommodated, how residents move on foot, and how buildings are defined or help define shared usable space. An important part of this strategy is how building height is handled across the site. Along Natchez Street, the two buildings that front the street are intentionally 2.5 stories in height. This creates a thoughtful transition from the existing historic and residential scale homes along Natchez and helps maintain a familiar streetscape. As you move west across the site to the former H.G. Hills property, the building steps up to 3 stories. Concentrating the additional height away from Natchez Street allows the site to better accommodate housing needs while still respecting the scale of the surrounding neighborhood. The concept also shows clearer intentional circulation, improved pedestrian connections, consolidated parking, and landscaping used to intentionally soften edges, provide shade, and define transitions between different parts of the site. The focus here isn't simply replacing old buildings with new ones, it's creating a site that works more intuitively and comfortably day to day. The images you see here help illustrate the architectural direction being explored for Natchez Place and how that height transition plays out visually. Along Natchez Street, the two-story buildings are designed to closely reflect the scale and rhythm of the existing homes. Front doors, porches, and familiar roof forms help reinforce the residential character and create a comfortable edge along the street. The 3-story L-shaped building fronting the former H.G. Hills site is set back from Natchez Street and oriented toward the internal of the development. Its placement along with distance and landscaping help balance its scale and limit visual impact on nearby homes. These renderings are conceptual. They're intended to communicate character, proportions, overall intent, but they're not intended to communicate final architectural details. Refinement will continue through the city review and public feedback process. Reinvestment in Natchez Place brings several important benefits to the city. It allows FHA to provide higher quality housing on a site that already serves a residential purpose, while making better use of existing land and infrastructure. It also creates opportunities for improved landscaping, safer circulation, and a more cohesive neighborhood presence. Perhaps most importantly, it allows the Franklin Housing Authority to continue to serve residents close to jobs, services, and transit, rather than losing that opportunity as older buildings age beyond practical repair. To be clear, tonight is an early step in a longer process. Timeline ahead includes submittals, review by the Planning Commission, and multiple readings before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Each of these steps include public participation. No final decisions are being made here tonight, and feedback from conversations like this one play a meaningful role in shaping how the plan evolves as it moves forward. So thank you all for taking the time to walk through this with us tonight. We'll now open things up for questions, comments, and feedback. If there's anything that we don't have answers to tonight, we will acknowledge that and follow up with you all. But our goal is to have a thoughtful, productive conversation about the future of the site. And we can do so by unmuting yourselves and asking questions that way, posting questions in the chat. And I will also open up my email and look for those questions that were sent to me by, I think it was Samantha.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, I did have a number of them. So
okay. I don't see them in my email yet. Make sure I didn't type it wrong.
well, I can sort of start with this. You know, we live on Acton Street. We live on Acton. We absolutely love it here. We used to live on Granbury Street. We do not pretend to be part of the old neighborhood who lived here, but we very much love the neighborhood. When we moved here, our understanding was that these properties were be renovated, not torn down and play. And I'd love to actually understand sort of how that part came about. Maybe Derwin answer that question. As of August, this seems like new, at least to us, concept that they're going to be torn down and redeveloped completely.
Sure, Derwin, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, where that came from. Again, originally, when we started this way back in 2008, and then came up with the final concept plan in 2010, it was always to tear them down and rebuild. And matter of fact, we pretty much all our properties that we had at that time, our plan was to tear down and rebuild new. The only one that we decided along the again, it was a conceptual plan that what we had planned to do, and things kind of, as I said before, sometimes things did change some, involve in some areas, like for instance on Spring Street in Johnson, we had planned to tear them down, but we decided not to. And we that's the only one we decided to just rehab instead of tear down. The rest of them was always in the plan to tear down and rebuild where it was more economically to do that. And also part of it was, okay, how can we increase the density? So that is always from pretty much from day one. We looked at turn everything down. So that never really changed. So I'm not sure where that maybe been listed someplace else that we're going to rehab those, because that was never in the plan to rehab at Natchez Street.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to pop something in the chat here. It just doesn't. Maybe it's because no. But there's other things.
I couldn't really
Yes,
hear.
Samantha, your mic is breaking up quite a bit too.
Oh dear.
I think you said you're trying to put things in the chat. It's not working. Has anyone else There's nothing else in the chat. I'm wondering if it's working. Oh yeah. Okay, I've received. I'm getting stuff now. So chat's working. Um,
There we go. This was a news source that had said it was simply going to be, sorry, that's a very long link, but that had initially said that that was the plan.
uh,
And that was from, I think, August of 2025.
well,
that was from where?
Derwin, I can speak to that. The article that she's
Okay.
posted here is about the grant we got for the apartments at the other end of Natchez Street. It doesn't have anything to do with this development.
Oh, is that about the eight that we are renovating?
No, the 16
No.
down close to our
Oh,
office.
oh, okay.
It's that
Okay.
grant. Doesn't have anything to
Okay.
do with this property.
okay, so that's a
Okay.
different property.
Okay, gotcha. So which property was that one for?
We own 16 units at the other end of Natchez Street. And that's a grant for that property.
So that'd be southwest of here.
Yes, down at the corner, almost across from our office, across from Spring Street.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I've got a question from Steve Atkinson. Can you speak about traffic mitigation while increasing residential units to 91? Has there been a study to address that? Yes. So traffic study is underway. It's being reviewed by the city and will be reviewed by a third-party engineer, as is typical through the city review process. And any recommendations that are made there will be requirements of the development plan, and we will comply with them. At this point, I've not heard what recommendations, if any, have been made, but that will likely be discussed at future meetings when those study is complete and the review has been completed. Miss Marcia Allen has raised her hand, and I don't know not sure how to I click on that.
Okay, I'll lower my
There we
hand.
go.
Hello, everybody. So I was going to try to wait for everybody else to talk, but it seems like no one else is going to say anything. So I am speaking tonight strictly as a property owner with property directly across the street from this site and property down the street. And so someone has already touched on it. So one of my main concerns is going to be traffic. So yes, 91 units, quite a few. Yes, this neighborhood, and so born, raised, still live here, and I know you probably get tired of me saying that, but this is historic Natchez Street, okay? And so, wow, a lot of concerns with traffic, and so I will get a chance to address this as a planning commission. I know you guys are saying that this is the uh initial plans, but this is it looks fast track to me because we are here May 5th. This is coming as a plan to the Planning Commission June, which is not this meeting, but the next meeting. So you're going to have, your plan is going to be pretty much together in June. And so that traffic study's got to come out pretty quickly. So traffic is a major concern for me. And also I know the renderings that you just gave us, you said, don't put too much stock in that, but I will have a serious problem with street parking. I know that was just a rendering, but the two and a half stories across the street from here, we have just regular houses, right? That I don't know. I'm having some uh I'm having some angst about that. So I guess when I see the plans, that'll calm my concerns about that. But the 91 units is kind of causing me a little heartburn on this. I am calmed by the fact that I've seen what Franklin Housing Authority has done with the others, and these things built in the 50s. Yeah, it's time for them to go. I see that, but yeah, I'm just feeling a little unease with this, with those 91 and with the amount of traffic that could come from that. But anyway, I just wanted to get on record with that as a property owner.
Thank you for being with us tonight, Miss Allen.
You're welcome.
There's another couple of comments here. Do you know if there are any updates on what is happening with the HG Hill site? As obviously that could have a major impact on traffic, infrastructure, etc. I think maybe it's in flux right now. There was a plan for HG Hill site. It sounds like that plan has kind of hit a stopping point, and now they're working forward or attempting to move forward on a new plan. I can't speak directly to that new plan, but it sounds like there's something different on the horizon, separate of I think what was proposed was a hotel and some commercial aspects. Maybe there's some residential tied in there too, but it sounds like a new plan is will be coming forward on the HG Hill site. When will the plans be available for you? Is that timing of that comment? I guess if you mean the plans for this site, Natchez site, which I assume you do, the plans have been submitted for pre-app to the city of Franklin, and I believe they become public. They may already be at least either now or once we submit for initial submittal, which is currently planned for Monday, May 11th. We've got some things to work through before we get to that deadline, but if not now, very soon is the answer to when the plans will be available. How does Cherokee Place by Jim Warren Park compare to this development? And were both Housing Authority and Kimley Horn involved in this community? Derwin, can you speak to that? To speak for Kimley Horn, I can't. I have not been at Kimley Horn very long, certainly not that long. But Derwin, can you speak to
what was the question?
So for the Cherokee Place by Jim Warren, were both the Housing Authority and Kimley Horn involved in that
community? No, I mean the Housing Authority was, but not Kimley
Okay.
Horn. No, yeah.
And then, can you confirm that you will be removing short court as part of this plan? As far as the plans have been designed to this point and the iterations that we have gone through, all iterations have removed short court. So there's still evolution, there's time for evolution at this point, but yeah, it seems like it is likely to be removed as part of the plan.
I mean, I have to ask, like, as a homeowner in the neighborhood, the margin districts going up, that road has been removed. There's now additional traffic already coming down Natchez, down Acton Street because of that. Do you believe that the removal of another road is in the best interest of the infrastructure of this neighborhood?
Well, that's really what the traffic study is for. The city and the third party engineer and our engineers work together and essentially grade it out to determine if it is better or worse off. And then they make recommendations to mitigate any issues that may have come up with the development. So what I believe is not all that important. What will be important is the outcome of the traffic study.
And when will we have access to that?
That should be soon. Our engineer is not on the call tonight. he would know the answer to that, but I'm pretty sure it has to be provided with initial submittal, which is on Monday, supposed to be on Monday. So I think it's very soon.
And
Once,
where do we find access to that once it comes out?
so you can go through the city's website for access. The public can access these. These will all be public, or available to the public. Maybe that's something I could send you. If you email me, I could send you a link to that to that portal where you can access that.
That would be great. I already sent you an email, so I think you have mine, but maybe other people on the chat might like it too.
Yeah, just so you know, I've not received the email you sent, so I don't. And maybe it's just it'll be here in a little bit thing, but you may want to send another one at some point just to make
Okay.
sure I get it.
Okay.
Will the FHA be allowing previous residents to return to Natchez and Short Court?
I mean, yes, those who have a desire to come back, but everybody that we have moved into new units, either at Cherokee or at Shawnee, or even at some even going to Franklin Flats that we're building over on Carruthers with partner with Edmonton on those. So all the people that we have moved from Natchez and from Brookwood have been permanent moves, and they've agreed to stay where they're going. But just say if any had desire, say we want to come back, once we rebuild, like we've done in the past with all of our properties, we do allow them to come back. So no one has been displaced. So everyone's been placed into a place where they're okay with that. We built, like I said, we built new at either at Cherokee or Shawnee, or even at Franklin Flats, or relocated some who were seniors. Some wanted to go to our senior buildings. So, and some wanted vouchers. We gave some with vouchers that went out and found a house someplace else to live. So we've always made it available for residents who wanted to come back to those locations. To if they did, they did so once we um, let them know we were going to relocate them. So yes, for those who had the desire, but I don't believe anyone has said they want to desire to come back to. Not that they didn't want to, but they were okay where they were going.
Matt, hi, this is Mark Sutton. I have a question that gets at, I think, a couple of the questions I heard from Miss Allen and maybe Miss Breen. So 91 units, there's probably an estimate of how many people that will be, 2.5 per unit or whatever it is that you guys use in planning. What's the comparison to the density now versus the density with the new project? I think what I'm hearing is that's something that's got some concern. So what's the delta between
There, I believe either 34 or 38 units on the site today. 38 units on the site today, and we're looking at 91 units with this current proposed plan. So not quite 3, but 2.5 times, something like that.
and is it safe to just multiply the current population by 2.5, or are the units bigger? Or again, is that because that kind of yields to traffic and all that other stuff?
Yeah, so as of today, the unit mix is there's 37 2 bedrooms, 47 3 bedrooms, and 7 4 bedrooms. So mostly 2 and 3 bedroom with a few larger units. How that compares to what is out there today, I can't personally speak to, but that feels like a relatively normal kind of unit ratio.
Yeah,
So
and we've done that in pretty much every property we've had. I mean, you go up to Reddick, we probably was 3 times the units that was at Reddick. Senior and Reddick family was only 44 units there. We tore down 44 and we built back 112. Over at Cherokee and Shawnee now, we don't have it. The traffic is not bad at all. We tore down At Cherokee, I might be off maybe 40 units. Susan can help me there, but we built back 76 and another 36 across from that. Plus, we built a single building of 48 units. You can drive through there. You won't see that there's a lot. There's not any traffic problems. So we've done the density, and so we have not had any issues with it. It actually is worked out great. So it's not, this is not the first time that we have done this. In all of our projects. We've increased the density on them.
You, Matt. Thank you, Derwin.
Okay.
Problem. Thanks for being here. How many parking spaces per unit will be provided? So we are providing 206, 208 parking spaces for 91 units. So a little over 2 spaces per unit. That's based on the city's parking requirements, and those requirements are based on 2 versus 3 or 4 bedroom units. I guess it's actually 2 has a requirement, and 3 and 4 want the same requirement, but it's averages out to a little over 2 spaces per unit. There are a large number of residents that have a strong desire to return. Are there apartments across from First Missionary Baptist Church a part of this program? No, they are not. Although they are still under ownership of the FHA, I believe, Derwin.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So in Reddick, does the city of Franklin own the property, or is it a private entity and going to the same infrastructure for this development? The city does not own the property. The Franklin Housing Authority owns the property.
Yes.
And let's see. Okay, I'm through the questions in the chat for now. Give it a couple more minutes. If anybody's got any other questions. Just so everyone knows this, and you probably heard it when you got on the call, but this presentation meeting has been recorded and will be submitted to the city to city staff when we're done tonight, so that they are aware that this meeting has occurred, and your feedback will be in their hands at that point. And like I said, we're aiming for a Monday initial submittal, and assuming we can stay on that track, we will move forward with that timeline as I showed before from there.
One other question real quick. Are you having to ask the city for any type of changes to Envision Franklin for this?
No, it's because of the special consideration under mixed residential that accommodates the Franklin Housing Authority's overall master plan, that it's aligned with it. Now, the staff had to agree that it aligns with it, which they did.
Okay. Thanks.
Problem. Why is a 3-story development deemed to be appropriate in a historical area? I guess that would be a question for the city, but based on the current regulations, the building heights that we're showing are allowed in this area.
I popped this in the chat, but just to ask, how do you foresee in your plans? It says that there's going to be street parking along, it looks like kind of the side of Acton Street that's going to be behind the hotel, and then on Natchez Street. Like those are both 1-lane roads pretty narrow. I'm curious how you foresee there to be available street parking on those roads, especially with the increased amounts of traffic.
Yeah, I think there's required right-of-way dedication there, so it will be expanded into the Natchez Place site.
Oh, okay. So now let me come back and address that. I thought that when you showed the renderings, you said that that was just a rendering. So you are proposing on-street parking on
So
Natchez
that's
Street?
yeah, that's well, so that's been a part of the conversation with staff,
Oh,
and they let me go back to that where you're talking about. So
okay.
just
Because
to
I'll
be
go on
clear,
record. Okay. So
not this, not that. That's behind, but in this bottom left image,
Mhm.
parallel parking, that's what they're talking about, not perpendicular. That's not allowed. But they want perpendicular or parallel parking, excuse me, on Natchez Street and on Acton Street. It's I think it's a traffic calming thing. I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Well, I need to say this now on recording. I'll say this in a minute. That's going to be a problem for me. Okay. On Natchez Street for sure. So I need to make sure that's loud and clear. Marcia Allen said that's going to be a major problem for her. Traffic calming. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a major problem for me. Most definitely.
Ms. Allen, I am with you. I live over on Acton Street, and I can tell you that there is no way there is any room for street
No,
parking on Natchez Street. And I
no,
walk my baby girl up there with a stroller every day of the week.
no, there is not. Yeah, that will be a problem. Okay. Thank you.
Why was the name change from Franklin Housing Authority to Franklin Housing Collaboration? Did that happen?
But what was that question? What was the question?
Someone asked why the name changed from Franklin Housing Authority to Franklin Housing Collaboration. I'm not sure.
No, well, the Franklin Housing Authority is still the Franklin Housing Authority. The Franklin Housing Collaborative is our nonprofit arm.
Okay.
So yeah, so that it's just an arm of the Franklin Housing Authority.
So can you confirm, because I noticed there's a leasing office as part of this. So is all of this actually affordable housing or is it going to be mixed? Because a leasing office suggests that there's going to be regular rents being paid as well. Can you chat to that part?
Well, a leasing most of the time in any the leasing office is going to be a part of this project. Most of the time, in any tax credit that they require you to have certain facilities, amenities that you have to offer. But you say affordable housing, but yes, it still is going to be affordable housing. It's going to be and maybe LC can talk about the percentages as far as the mixed income part of it, but it's still going to be affordable housing with the tax credit rates. Plus, we're going to plan to also still to have some project-based vouchers on some of the units, so that it would make it more affordable for those that may be at the 30% of the medium income. So it definitely still going to be a mixed income affordable housing project. I'm thinking that's what your question was.
Okay, so this is just not Franklin Housing Authority. Okay, so I'm confused then. I get where she's coming from. So this is just not FHA, basically.
Yes, it is. It is FHA. I mean, we've developed all of our properties. On this particular property, we are partnering. It's still FHA. We just have a partner with Edmonton to help us to build it. Part of this is looking at. We're going to apply for the bonds, 4% bonds, to do this project, which is very to do as many units we're trying to do is more than we as a housing authority can do by ourselves.
Okay.
But it still is a housing authority project, and we're still the owners. We're going to manage it. We just got a partner with us with Edmonton to help us to develop it and to build it.
Mhm.
So what
And also,
percentage will actually be offered as affordable housing versus what will be at market rate? Or will there be any at market rate?
Well, it's all going to be affordable housing.
Okay.
LC, are you on here, LC?
I am.
What's the mixture on this one?
I'm happy to jump in. Yes,
Okay.
so this will be 100% affordable housing. Under the tax code, we are able to income average that affordable housing. So as a high level, that means that we can, like Derwin mentioned, we can offer project-based vouchers to the lower income tenants, and then all of the units will average to the 60% average area median income. And so there will be no market rate units here. It will be 100% affordable, all averaging to the 60% AMI. And happy to answer any further questions on that as well.
And part of this, as I said on a previous meeting, that we're also not only targeting those that may be at 30%, but also those that are left in the middle. That there's a middle of affordable housing that's missing, that we're trying to fill that void. To say for a 4-bedroom market rate unit in Franklin, you're going to pay $3,000 to $4,000 to rent a unit in Franklin for that. So we're trying to offer in that middle for a 4-bedroom family unit, which is the affordable side of this, is through the tax credit program to make it affordable for that middle that may be missing, that's needed also in Franklin. That may be your teachers and your other, some managers, other hospital workers, that we're going to target all those who can try to help them in the middle, that may otherwise can't afford to pay the $3,000 or $4,000 a month rent in the fair market.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for your time tonight. We appreciate the feedback, taking note of it. Like I said, this has been recorded and will be passed on to the city, so they've got it too. My email is in the chat. If anyone wants to reach out to me and Ms. Breen, I will send you a link to how to access those documents. So yeah, hope you all have a great evening. Appreciate you being with us tonight.
Thanks, guys.